Hey guys, this is Killrob speaking, and in today's episode of Great Engineer, Terrible Driver, we are going to design a 2010 family sports car in automation and hot lap it in BeamNG.drive on the automation test track. What driver score will I achieve today? We shall find out. A family sports car. Well, not really a sports car. Family sport vehicle. A sporty family car. That is a tricky proposition because those two things are kind of counter each other. Family car is by definition not a sports car. Okay, but we can of course tinker a little bit with the engine and its capabilities. And a family car needs to be practical, and it needs to be able to put 4 to 5 people inside. Otherwise it's not a family car. At least 4 to 5 people. Well, for the pure family demographics it's actually at least 5. But I think for the family sport it is 4 to 5 is the desired range. Also, they do like to have a reasonably large vehicle because of all the toys that have to be put in there. And like all the hopefully empty vomit containers from the kids. Yes. So, how about a very practical 2009 hatchback or a 4-door sedan? That makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? This one has a bit more cabin size. I quite like that. Yeah, I mean, we can always tinker a bit with the morphs. This one, does it have low drag? Nope, actually not. For whatever reason, this one has higher drag. Alright, we do need some top speed too. And I'll try to go a little harder on the family side than the sport side. So let's go with the hatchback. But this looks like a good car overall. It's not going to break any records when it comes to cornering. Or how nimble it is. It's 2.8 meters wheelbase. Anyway, so what are we going to pick here? Partial aluminium, I think, is a solid choice for 2010. That's a minimum. You wouldn't want to go full aluminium though, that is overkill. And we do want to go monocoque, and probably for a car like this, like light AHS, nah, that's overkill. But advanced high strength steel, yes, definitely. That seems reasonable. Yeah, okay, that only adds 4 months of engineering time, and for a car that is supposed to be a little stiffer, definitely a good choice. We are going with rear-wheel drive. Yes, we are. And, yes, double wishbone. At that point in time, 2010, for a manufacturer that has been making sports cars and hopefully been using double wishbones since, like, the 60s. Yes, a little jab there. Well, we can continue with this. Oh, I'm already used to having the up button there instead of the forward button. So, engine time. It is engine time. A family sport. Not premium, not family sport. I think that would be suited well to a reasonably high revving inline 6. It is smooth. It is potentially large enough. It is lightweight enough. It is not too intensive on the effort required to make it. And we can put some nice stuff on here. Dual overhead cam 4-valve at this point in time. Yep, that's absolutely necessary. ALSI construction, because that shaves off some production units compared to aluminium, because you don't need cylinder liners. That is a big advantage. How large do we want to go? Not pony car large, that's for sure, but around 3 liters actually sounds pretty solid. Do we want to be a little on the... yeah, I was thinking on the over square side, but that makes it weird, makes it a little tricky. Well, let's start out with a standard square engine. From there we can optimize. Okay, so here we go. Standard. We don't need anything fancy in there, but hyperprotective cast against those pesky emission laws. Yeah, don't need lightweight forged or anything. That's all good. then cam profile and compression. And I think a family sport does pretty well around 50 to 55 cam profile, like a good mid-range, because that is what you're going to use if you are driving this thing a little harder. You are cruising around 2k RPM and then you want to have full power band from there till like 6 or something. But with higher cams than this, it starts later, so you would be in a hole when you are getting out of those regions of cruise. So I think this makes perfect sense. Like around 55 gives a very mid-rangey torque curve. And no turbo on this one, because, well, it's 80s turbo tech, only available in automation at the moment. And, would be so nice with direct injection, but, if this is the premium category instead, I would go with direct injection here, no questions asked. And a performance intake does make sense though, because we do want to hear the engine. We do want to hear that this family car is a little bit more on the sporty side. And let's go with Premium 95. We are aiming this one at... Oh, are we? Are we aiming at... Frenia and Gasmir would like this. Oh, as well as Helvetia, of course. That is the new region. And where do we want to set the fuel mixture? I think for this kind of car, we have to compromise. For sportiness, I would set it at 13.0. For a family car, I would set it at 14.7. And so for this one, I think I'm going with something in between. 13.7, 13.8. We don't want to get too much of a penalty for the lack of responsiveness and lackluster tune in this one. Ignition timing, well, it's EFI, so let's put it to something like 75. And then RPM, rev it to 7k, around-ish. I think we can afford some nice headers. Shortcast might run into limitations here. And let's see how much power we're actually making, but I would aim around like 200 horsepower. Maybe slightly more. Let's see. Three-way cat. And we are going with a single reverse flow. Currently knocking like crazy. Let's back this off. And indeed, we are making slightly beyond 200 horsepower. And it is the pistons and conrods that don't like the speed of this thing. That tells me that we should go a little over square, because the valve train certainly allows for more revs, while the internals don't. And the way to mitigate that is to go slightly over square. So now we have 3 liters here, and we can rev it to 7,200 with this slightly over square setup before we run into any issues of stress. Let's up this. It's still not revving out properly. How far do we want to rev this? Oh, we would want to rev this to 7.7 if possible. Alright, there we go. So more over square even. 90 to 76. That gives us a 2.9 liter engine. But we can rev it to 7.8. So what's going on here is that the larger you make the bore, the earlier you hit valve float, because the valves are getting heavier. And also the internals aren't quite as stressed because you have less stroke. So less distance to cover, lower forces inside. And yeah, that is how you're supposed to deal with the stroke versus bore calculations here. And make sure that your engine has the appropriate ratio for the intended purpose. And I think this covers it nicely. That's a very nice looking torque curve. Or, well, power curve, especially. And we have this nice bump here in the mid-range where it really starts pulling. This is like you're coming up from 2000 and go to 4000 and it just feels like a sporty engine because it has a rising torque curve in that region. Oh, we can get more power out of this one too. A lot more power. Holy shit, okay. That was really limited. I only looked at the stress so far. Where was it sitting? It was sitting here. Whoa! Oh well, one high up. There it was sitting. 88, yeah, that's bad. So we're going with 230 horsepower. Yeah, that sounds about right for a car like this. You would maybe expect even a little bit more towards the 250 mark. But I don't think that's absolutely necessary, is it? We give the car a sporty tune nonetheless, so that should make up for it. So, the hatchback version it is. There we have it. Yeah, nice. 250-ish horsepower, 230 horsepower in there. How much is reaching the wheels? We shall find out. Rear-wheel drive. We are oh, this is, yeah. Advanced automatic. I know. That is not sporty, Caleb. No, you would probably have something like a sports setup in there, but it's a family car. You want to drive it comfortably, but it still should be sporty when you require it, and that doesn't necessarily mean a manual. If we built it for the Floridian market, I would consider it, but this is Gasmir, Helvetia, and a little bit of Floridia. Ratios, 6 or 7? 6. 6 is fine, we don't need more. Second gear goes to 101 kilometers an hour, good for the stats sheets. We are going with a viscous, I would think. It's a nice compromise between open and something more fancy. Radial tires, medium compound on this one, and we try to go with an all-square setup. How about... yeah, 205s might be a bit on the small side. Let's try 225s. And at what profile? 50 profile to make it a bit more sporty. Yeah, 18-inch. And of course, alloy rims. What do we want for brakes? Probably a 2-piston front, 1-piston rear setup. And the pad type, somewhere in between 30 and 50. And what is between 30 and 50? 40. Yeah! Semi-clad. Semi-clad. Fully clad is 4 months of engineering, so no, don't think that's necessary. But cooling flaps might be worth it. Just limiting the actual venting of the engine bay to its absolute minimum when you're cruising, so that you get a bit more fuel economy out of this thing. Cooling airflow, well, 70 needs to be somewhat reliable, I believe, but we can come back to this, optimize it later. Let's go 4 seats for now, and pop in premium, and what more premium? No, that's way too expensive. Ugh, so expensive. But the premium CD has come down in price a lot. Oh, let's take this one. Whoa, these are super expensive still. Oh yeah. Alright, premium CD it is. Power steering, okay, that's interesting. Electric variable is very nice, of course. A little costly, but it's kind of important for a car like this. I think we could invest in this. It is so good for drivability and sportiness. And of course, electronic stability control, yeah, it needs to be in there. And it is a family sport car, so we do need our advanced safety. On the other hand, that is a lot of engineering time. Suspension, yeah, that is something where we probably have to go a bit more fancy than just progressive springs. Can we afford an active sport and then cheap out on this? I believe we can. Oh, and straight away, our build has hit the mark. Highest scoring demographic? Family sport. Oh yes. A little bit optimistic on the setup. This is wildly oversteery. Gotta fix that, but let's set it to normal. And, oh, no! Family sport has dropped. Yeah, well, no. no. I'm going to do a manual tune of this, of course, but this is looking pretty nice. Let's pin it to the top and start optimizing. I think one overdrive gear makes perfect sense. And we are reaching 250 kilometers an hour. Does it help if we actually limit it to 250? We do get... Oh, do we get something better? 240? Nah, we get better affordability because our tires don't have to take quite as much, but the 0.2%, that's not something I'm really after. But yes, those wheels. Cornering is looking pretty solid at about 1G. But this is way too oversteery. Wider tires do make them happy though. So 225s, 235s. We're getting into crazy territory for a family car. Nah, not really. Like 255 rear would still be fine, I would say. But the cornering is getting there. Now we somehow just need to control this damn oversteer. Alright, braking. Oh, braking is not set up too terribly. Yeah, I think this might be just good enough. 38 meters. That's probably because the car's damn heavy and our tires aren't that wide. Well, for such a heavy car, actually, our tires aren't that wide at all. So, I don't want to stagger the size, as in make them 255s rear. Because that, while it brings down the curve a bit, also means that it's a lot more costly. Oh, yeah, okay. The cooling flaps actually are not that helpful to this demographic. Our engine is not ultra powerful, so it doesn't help that much. If we just turn them off, we save a bit of money. And do we? Yeah, exactly. 1 whole percent. That is a lot, or almost 0.8. And that gives us some bonus score. Now we're back up to having this category scoring the highest possible. Somewhat lower cooling airflow, that definitely helps. And how did we set up our limiter now? 250. Oh, this is bad, and this is, if we go beyond, they like it. Okay, they like the top speed. We can save so much money through not going advanced safety. How much do they value this at? 17.3%. That's high. That is very high. But look at that, the price difference is just so much that actually the advanced safety is scoring slightly worse. And the engineering time makes a big difference too, which is not in that price, but it is manifesting itself as opportunity cost, which you can't really see in Sandbox. But now I need to find a reasonable tune for this one. Roll angle 8 degrees certainly is not classified as reasonable for a family sports car in my book. Now let's try to get rid of that. Yeah, a bit more optimization here and there. Rear damping is now a lot higher. And yeah, this is looking good. Can be fine-tuned slightly to get this to 100%. This is a very sporty tune for a family sports car. Usually I would be aiming for something more like drivability on the red line and the sportiness more on the blue line. That's not optimal for anything. That's not why I'm saying that, but it's more like, yeah, move the drivability slightly closer and sacrifice a bit of sportiness. But we do have all the gadgets in here, all the electronics to offset that nastiness. Alright, I think we're done. Quite happy with this one. 114 score, let's take a look at the markets. Holy shit, this is green. Very nice. Very nice. This is a car that fits into many categories. It has good qualities, and it definitely will sell to whomever you ask. Let's see what it's doing in Helvetia. Probably... Oh no, it's also doing really well there. And in Fruinia? Yes, also doing well. Family Premium, Family Sport. Very good. Even a little bit of premium in there. And now what remains, obviously, is the design. So give me a moment. And it is done. The Taurus Peak. Yeah, it has a bit more of almost a bit of a muscly car look to it. A bit of a strange constellation there in front. Haha, pun intended. I'm so funny. And yeah, sides, nothing special. I didn't do much. But it has wing mirrors. Yeah, rejoice, it has wing mirrors, because this body comes with wing mirrors. I couldn't forget them. And yes, oh, you see something is going on there. You see something is going on there, and that is something I want to show you. It's not something I did forget, but rather something I want to show you. This is the closed beta version of the game, and I have not placed my exhaust pipes yet, and look at that. So I'm going to choose this one. I think for this car it makes sense that they are kind of internal. And let's choose this one. And now look at that. It goes dynamically to where you place it. Can even place it on the side here, and it goes out the side. Isn't that awesome? Yeah. So we're going to have it here at the side. For once. Usually put it on the other side. And this is nice. Or maybe we want to have it there. So anything you do there is just automatically piped to the correct location. Isn't that neat? And by the way, that is something that looks super easy, and it's like, yeah, why don't you quickly just do that? And that's something that takes a skilled programmer with like procedural mesh generation over a month to implement. But because of how handy it is with all kinds of piping, I think that is worth it. Oh shit! Now I've destroyed everything. Alright, that's why you lock fixtures. Okay, so this it is, the Taurus Peak. It's a solid design, I would say. Nothing spectacular. And no, I didn't place grills on the rear with its front engine. These are fake grills. I do like the badge though. Real simple and neat. Anyway, that's it. It's the Blaze i6 with the BST, in the trim BST 2.9. And now, the only thing that remains doing is sending it on the test track first and then export it. So here we go. And it has decent acceleration, sounds good. And yeah, modern car performance, I would say, yeah. It's not super impressive, but I mean, it's there. 200 kilometers an hour. Oh, just has to slightly lift off at 200, and it's going full force towards the Bavarian bend. Oh, very stable for there. 150, what? Okay, that will be difficult to beat. And towards the line, there we go. 231.51. Alright, here we are, the Taurus Peak. It is a beautiful car. It's a mediocre, solid-looking car. Let's say it like that. But it drives really well. It actually is very easy to drive, as you would expect from a family sports car. And we set it into sports driving mode, and then it's just throttle, and you're off. And it drives beautifully. I just can't apex or steer in this damn view. So yeah, forgive me for that. But yeah, it is a very, very well-behaved car. Slightly oversteer on throttle, obviously. And that is really nice for driving, because you can steer into corners, out of corners like that. And if you're not killing it beforehand. But yeah, so let me warm up a little bit, and then, or a little bit more rather, and then we are ready for our hot lap. Alright, everything's set up. I think we're ready. And we're ready to rock. There we go, off the line, full acceleration ahead towards Everton S1. A tap on the brake there, turn in, and through here, around 80-ish, and full throttle. Oh, don't overdo it. Don't overspeed here, but oh yeah, it's getting a little light at the rear. It's perfect, it just steers more. Slight oversteer behavior to get more cornering performance. Lift off here, and back on throttle, and full braking. Full braking. There, yes, perfect. Wait, and out of here. Full throttle. So well behaved. Okay. Castle's carousel. And through here, 80 something, 85. Full throttle again. On the Daffy Flyer. Let's see how fast we get. Yeah, shifting to fourth. 150. Yeah, it's not a sports car. You see that here, but respectable. Look at that speed. 195, and no lift off. Just full power through here. Now Bavarian bend. And wait, and there we go. Slight braking. Yeah, looking good. 100 kilometers an hour. Apex and full throttle. Yes. Oh. Whoa! Nice. And went very well. Now, killer option again. 100 meters. And braking. Good. Steer. Nice. That also worked out. Don't overdo it. Oh, almost a little turn there. And pomsicle towards Adam's apex. Full throttle through here. But we need to be up in the brake zone here. Hard braking. Yes. Oh, yeah, good. And full throttle again. A little correction. And Cossack corner coming up. This is still all looking very good. And braking. I don't know how fast to take this one really, but it is well. It's got a little light there. And brake down. Oh, perfect. Little throttle heavy there, and we are across the line into there we go. 2:33.84. The Taurus Peak. It is really good to drive. It is fun, but it's not scary. But you can feel that there is a bit more to it than a family car, that's for sure. So overall, I think this is a great build. Might not be the prettiest of things. Looks a bit more pony car-esque, or muscle car-esque maybe, like lower tier one. But it is a good build, really nice. I enjoyed my drive with it, and I only required. It was the second take I took. Yeah, second take. So it's really easy to drive. Anyway, we have the results. In automation, this car needed 2 minutes 31.51. And in BeamNG, I managed to drive a 2 minutes 33.84. And that leaves us with a driver score of 98.5. As always, you find this car's download, the .car file, in the description down below. And I hope you enjoyed, and see you guys next time.